So, Nick and Chris 2.0 is finally here after so much work, a lot of late nights for everybody. Why don't we start with you, Nick? If you could, please share with us what we have with 2.0 so far and any new features that you have for us.
Right. Well, hopefully everyone can see my screen, and just for the sake of having you see if it works, I'm just going to play back some audio and see if you can actually hear it as well. So have a listen to this.
Sounds great. Well, hello, everybody.
And that looks familiar, doesn't it? So anyway, this is where we are at the moment. This is what is going to be installed soon. So we have Hindenburg. We have all the things that we know already. We have transcription. We have video. And do you want more in-depth thing, Jonathan, or is it just a? Let's do it quickly.
Give us an overview.
That was an overview.
I should say one thing. I should say one thing to the folks who are here. AirMeet, where we are doing this, is in a browser. So if you want to see everything that's on the screen, it's a little easier to see that if you put the window in full screen on your end.
Okay.
All right.
Well, everything you say. Everything is just so many things. Okay, let me just close down a few windows. So one of the things that we've been working hard on, and hopefully most of you have tried already, is the manuscript. So that is one of the new things. And it's all the feedback that we got up until now, it seems like it works well, and we're very happy with that. If you've never tried it, it's fairly straightforward. You find some audio. And I'm not going to do it right now because it obviously takes a little time. And then you have that transcribed. You can choose what language. We've been adding new languages over the last period of time. So we started out with, I think, 3 languages, and this is where we are at the moment. You can add multiple speakers. And multiple speakers, I've actually just done I was working on this thing together with Jonathan. And by transcribing it with multiple speakers, you can see here in the script that it just assigns us to each soundbite, which is absolutely amazing. Editing in the text, we'll get back to that in a little second, but if there are mistakes, and there will be, especially when someone like me starts speaking, because transcription doesn't really understand what I'm on about most of the time, which I can't blame it, to be honest. Doing this more than I have, so I can just point and you can tell me what we're looking at. But I'll just kick you off. This is what Hindenburg looks like when you open it up. Can look slightly different depending on how. Oh, Jesus, I wanted to find something where it made a mistake, then it didn't. Let's see. Can we find a mistake?
Well, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Can I just say something here? The volume here. Oh, okay. I can't find a mistake. Let's say volume was wrong. All you need to do is just press enter to go into editing mode, and then say just type in something else, press enter again, and you're done. So making any changes is really fast, but I probably should go back and there we go. If I wanted to edit, I could just highlight anything in the text, and it will be highlighted in the workspace as well. Maybe I should not do it in this one because right now I'm editing together with video. But it works fine, and if you've tried it out, it works fine. It is that easy. You just select some audio, and then you just cut it, as you would imagine. Now, speaking of audio, I've imported a video track. I've not imported it, I must stress. I've opened it. So I went to open, and then I found the video, and that's the way you do it. The reason you open something and don't import it is that you can only have one video at a time. And the whole point of this is that you can do your post-production sound to that video, like I'm doing here. And I must admit, I'm not just doing this to show off. This was actually what I was working on up until 2 minutes before we went live. It's just, especially for me who knows the ins and outs of Hindenburg, but I guess for many other people, it's just so much easier to play around with. For instance, here at the beginning, I just wanted to make a little bit of audio interest, put some sounds in there, and put some music in there. And I could, let's see, add a little bit more interest in there. Let's see how this goes. I can try to hear this just for a sec.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is...
And then I could just fade that out, just using the tools that we do all the time.
You also can color the tracks, right?
I can color the track. Well, not the tracks, Jonathan. We spoke about this yesterday. We're coloring the regions. And the point of that is, if I did color the tracks, I could color everything on a single, that would be everything on this track. I don't really want to do that. For instance, if I just want to highlight this point of the story, it's much easier just to give that specific region a color. And for storytelling, this makes a lot more sense than coloring everything. So you can color everything if you wanted to. If I wanted to color all these, I'd just highlight them, give them all a color, and Bob's your uncle. But being able to go in and pinpoint a specific one, say this one is a problematic area, it's just so much easier to do like this. And speaking of nothing, shall I talk about the sounds now?
Yes. So some folks may have seen some of these features in our ongoing beta that we've had, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that soon. But so what no one has seen, I believe, is this new feature that you have to show for us.
Yes, it's sounds, and it's right now it doesn't look like much. It just looks like an empty clipboard where we just type sounds on it, and maybe it is. Let's see. If it's, it might just be that. That was a great feature, but no, it connects to Soundy's sound library, and we do give you we give you some sounds that come with it. So I could go in and say, "Why I want to find a seaside." Here we go. We've got the sound there, and we can just play it back as you would expect. Yep, sounds good, so to speak. Let's just put that in there. Go to the beginning. See how that works. And then we can start playing around with it. And even though I have actually got my own sound libraries and what have you, but having them in a separate folder and all that, I don't use them as often as I would like to. Just having this, and I had a special version of it for some time now. It's absolutely amazing. I love playing around with it. I still get giddy when I edit audio, and being able to have access to these sounds here is just amazing. I love it, even though I designed it myself. So there you go.
Excellent. All right. Well, to talk maybe a bit more about the hows of all of this, like how do you get it? What are we doing? All this stuff. We want to answer some questions that everyone might have, or many people out there have. We are now going to talk to our CEO, Chris Montes. So, Chris, give Nick and Chris a digital round of applause with our little icons here.
No, it's you. No, actually, in all honesty, us being in beta for this long, the feedback that we got from you has been absolutely amazing and epic. And I'm not going to do the one, we couldn't do this without you, but we really couldn't.
All right. My line, Nick.
Oh, was it? I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. It sounded much more honest coming from you.
I'll leave it to you.
All right.
Chris, off you go.
Thank you. Oh, could you bring up that background we talked about, please, by the way?
Okay, so Chris, do you, we have a lot of questions that I know folks out there have. before we get into it, since Nick stole your thunder there, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Again, of course, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for all your help during the beta period. It was very nice to see how many people got involved in it and were kind of excited about it. It's very encouraging for us when we're sitting here at 3 a.m. and going like, should we go home now? Probably should have gone home a while ago. But without getting that feedback from everyone, that would have been really difficult to go on with. I might as well start with a little caveat, which we have to get into. We actually had to not go live with this today because there were some things that came up on the back end, managing all the licensing and the switching and so on, which just weren't tested enough for us to do it confidently. So the app that Nick was showing you is ready. Ready software. You can always make more, but everything we said was going to be in there is in there. It works and it's tested and it's solid. All the people have helped us do that. That's been great. But there's a whole different project related to this, is managing transcription hours and subscription tiers and all that sort of thing. And we are a tiny team. I mean, there are 4 developers in the company, and the rest of us sit around and try to encourage them. But that does provide some challenges every once in a while. And so we are at a point today with the back end where we would like to have been a week ago, so that we can do some really heavy testing before we go live. And I just had to pull the plug this afternoon and say that's just not that's not good enough. We need to be sure it's going to work. So I do apologize up front, but the beta will still be out there. It'll be updated to the latest version. People can still sign up and try it and use it. It'll still contain free transcription hours for now, while we get the backend going. So to a high degree, you will, through the beta program, get access to the full program. And hopefully help us find more bugs, come with more suggestions. And I think it's really important to say, the bugs is one thing, and we need help finding them because, again, we're not enough people in the house to do it ourselves. However, what's really has been great is the kind of people looking at it and saying, well, could you just do this and it'll really work for me? And then we go like, that's a good idea, actually. And because we're small and nimble, that also allows the advantages that we can actually say, you know what, I think we can do that. And there have been quite a few instances during this last 6 weeks where we've done that. So thank you again for all your help.
Okay, so let's no, it's all good. Let's get into some questions that people have had that come up. And again, we're going to try to ask your questions. There's a fair amount of folks here. There's no way we can get to everyone and everyone's question, but we'll also take some questions from the Q&A at the end. Okay. But I know that a lot of folks have been asking about. So we sent out a newsletter, and it showed prices and such for subscription. So some folks have wondered if they can only subscribe by a year, or can they continue to subscribe month by month?
No, we have both. Yes, we have both is the right way to answer that. Yes, we have both a monthly and an annual subscription still. What I was trying to say was that the annual subscription will be for the what currently is Pro without the transcription and so on, will be the same or even a little cheaper than it currently is, because we're going to deprecate Hindenburg Lite. We can't carry on with so many products. We need to focus. So I was thinking, well, one of the advantages of Hindenburg Lite has always been that a lot of people can get access to a really good in our opinion, obviously, narrative storytelling product at a very cheap price, and that's kind of why we started Hindenburg, and we'd like to do that in the future as well. So the way we could approach that was to make our base product of Hindenburg Pro 2 as cheap as we possibly can, so that we don't have a one-time 99 fee. It's unfortunately the perpetual licensing model is just not sustainable. I know it's difficult to imagine, but it's a very difficult model to work with and develop and compete with. So that's why subscription is important for us going forward. But if we could hit Hindenburg Pro, the basic standard model without transcription, where we don't have a lot of external costs at $99, then that's going to be our Hindenburg Lite in the future. Did I drift? I got to bed at 4 this morning, so I do apologize.
Okay, so let's knuckle down on another question here. Somebody has asked, or a few people have asked, if they are would like to buy it perpetually, can they just buy Pro 2 perpetually? A perpetual license.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can buy a perpetual license that comes without transcription or any other services. As I mentioned, those services cost us money as you use them, and we have to pay a monthly fee for them. But you can then buy those as an add-on. You can either buy them as a one-time kind of, I need transcription right here and now, but I don't need it every month. Buy it as a one-time purchase, or you can subscribe parallel with your perpetual license.
Okay. The next question I was going to ask, somebody had asked in the Q&A area anyway, so I'm just going to show this on stage real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Rob has asked, will a perpetual license get the update to Pro 2? And another way of saying that is, will it automatically get an update, or will people have to pay?
No. The big difference between an update and an upgrade is that you move from a version, from one version to another, and we are now moving from version 1 to version 2. We've made a whole lot of development, and it's invested a lot of time and money in making a whole new product, which we have to recoup, and that's why in that case you'll be upgrading to be paying an upgrade, but there will be a discounted or a discount, if you like, to upgrade from perpetual version 1 to perpetual version 2.
All right, so let's talk about all these add-ons and see if we can have everybody on the same page about this. So for many of the folks who have been with us through the beta period, as Nick showcased here, transcription is a major feature. And as you said, we pay for that services as well. So just some questions that have come up about transcription. Will you have to pay for your transcription hours every month?
Yes. Or if you have a subscription with Nick, could you scroll down to the overview, please? There you go. So that's the monthly licensing option. Can you show the yearly, or is that still broken? Oh, look at that. Well, okay. So basically, the standard does not include transcription. So if you want to add subscription to that, there'll be a separate package you can buy as a parallel subscription to give you access to it, or the one-time fees, as I mentioned. So you can do that with all of our tiers. So even if, let's say, you license the Plus version, which includes 20 hours of transcription every month, if you get into a situation one month where you say, well, I have a big thing I need transcribed, you can buy extra transcription just for that month. Or if you it's always difficult to set prices exactly as people need them. There is no way to satisfy everyone's needs, so we need to just try and find as many options as we can. So you could upgrade from, say, if you had an annual license, for example, you could buy a transcription package on the side for a month to get you through that period. If you had a monthly, you could just upgrade to the premium model for a month, which will give you 50 hours of transcription, and then downgrade again the next month if that's what you needed. But I mean, it's one of the reasons the back end is not done is because I tried to force everyone to be as flexible as possible, and think about the customers, and then they all look at me like I'm an idiot because that may be true, but you've just added another 4 days of development with your little, well, what about this? There's a reason why they don't let me in that often.
Okay. So just so folks are clear, there are no what we're going to call rollover hours, which just means that if you pay for 10 hours a month, 1 month and you use 8, the next month you don't have 12. You'll have 10 every month.
Just like the phone bill or any other.
Just like the old phone bill. Right. Okay. Another question that a lot of folks have asked, if they wanted to, this is a 2-part question, okay? If they wanted to, can they stick with version 1, and when will support end for that?
Yeah. So, I mean, apparently I was a little strict in my first communication about this. It sounded like the day after we put this out, we wouldn't take your calls. That's not quite the case, to be honest.
We love your calls.
We love your calls. Well, your emails, really. What we won't be doing is you can keep using, in particular, perpetual license. Obviously, a subscription doesn't make sense. But if you're in a perpetual license, there's no limitation to how long you can use it. But the limitations are going to come from your computer, because what's going to happen is that Apple or Windows or Microsoft at some point is going to upgrade to a version that we no longer can support. Every year, God help them, God love us. Apple will say, well, hey guys, all you developers, we're just going to switch to a new version. We're going from El Capitan to Ventura, whatever it is. And that sounds really easy, but for us, that means 3 months of scrambling just to provide exactly the same product the next year, and which plays back to why perpetual licensing is an issue, because I know that a lot of people outside the software industry think that once you've made it, it works. Unfortunately, that's not we're like standing on quicksand all the time. So that's why we have to make a break and say, okay, we've done 14 years on this product. It's been a one-time fee for a lot of people. Now we've invested a whole lot of money and we need to move on to the next. And so the first one, back to your question, it'll run forever as long as you don't upgrade into some operating system we don't. And we will take your calls for as long as we can. But there will be more like user kind of questions and so on. And then at some point, hopefully, you'll be joining us in version 2.
Please join us. And we have a question about those folks who are joining us. I'm going to show this one on stage here. Stephanie is asking us, if we've got a monthly pro subscription, do we download 2.0 or will it update automatically?
Okay. Hey, Steph, welcome to Copenhagen. Haha. I noticed you just moved recently, right? So you will actually have, Nick, do you have a picture of the account? Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, there we go. So in your account, this one doesn't have that, but you will actually have both Hindenburg Pro 1 and Pro 2, and you'll be able to download the Hindenburg Pro 2 version from your account and run it in parallel with Hindenburg Pro 1, in fact. Now, at some point for the subscribers, not too far down the road, we will probably remove it because it'll clutter up your interface and confuse us. And say if you're not using it, there's no point in it being there. That's the point of a subscription. But you will go to your account, Steph, just to answer your question, and download version 2. Because, as I mentioned, it is a whole new product.
Okay. Good. So this is the revamp website, which will be available in the next week to 2 weeks for people. When we're ready, we promise, let you know, and you can buy version 2. So this is the kind of thing. What are they actually going to see from the customer point of view?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we brightened ourselves up a little and tried to get out of our dark Scandinavian look and tried the light IKEA look here. We're trying to be nice and airy and friendly and Danish designy. I hope some people appreciate it. I'm sure there's someone's going to say, "Where's that dark picture of the moose being interviewed or elk?" But new times. When you go into your account, that's where most of the interesting stuff in terms of licensing and so on goes on. Now, I'm assuming most people here are a Hindenburg license, since we're still speaking to our customers before we start speaking to new customers. And in that account, you will see what you have. You will see, if you scroll down a little, Nick, you will also see your transcription or any other services that you might have in your package, and you'll be able to count down. Now, it's important to say one of the big challenges was that we wanted to make it offline, that you can use it offline. And that sounds great, but as you can imagine, from an accounting point of view, that's a nightmare. So if you use all your hours up when you're offline and don't go online, this has no way. We still don't have Pixie Magic to do that, to update your online account. So there is a little excludes any offline usage caveat there, but it'll update here and show you what you have. This is also where you'll be able to buy upgrades, downgrades, and so on. This will be basically your management interface to move around as you need. Is that what you were asking me, or was it something totally different?
That's what I was asking you. So folks can upgrade or choose. If you want less transcription 1 month, you can just choose to have less or none at all. You can customize this as you go.
There are limitations, of course, as there will be, but yes. And
okay,
a lot of ipsum lorem there, can see.
So I want to show another question on stage, just because this is my favorite question in there so far. It's just this. It's just the picture of 2 fists with no question at all. I appreciate that. Thank you for putting that in there.
That's from Nikolai, a very, very famous journalist in Denmark, right, Nikolai?
Thank you, Nikolai. We still are offering
one of my favorites anyway.
We're still offering perpetual licenses this time. But what does the future of Hindenburg look like down the road? 5 years, 10 years, moving to other versions? Will we forever offer a perpetual license?
The future. I don't know. To be honest, I really don't know. First of all, the world is going more and more towards subscription because, honestly, financially, it's a nightmare to try to survive on a perpetual licensing model. I know that a lot of people think that they don't want to pay twice and so on. The reality is that it's a huge investment to keep up with the market and keep innovating, and you need income for that. And we're competing against much larger companies, as we tend to punch over our weight. So I really have a hard time right now, considering what we want to do with Hindenburg in terms of, and I don't want to promise a whole lot of stuff, but there are a whole lot of ideas that we have about what we could do to improve the whole process of telling stories and making it easier. A lot of that is going to require services and online presence and so on. And the minute you get into that area, it's very difficult to do that with a one-time payment. So we appreciate that for some people, a perpetual license is okay. We will look at it as seriously as we possibly can, but we won't do it to the detriment of the development of the product and what we're trying to support. So I would rather not say yes or no at this point, but I'm very aware that a certain number of people like that, and we will try to support them as well as we can.
Okay, so for the present moment, those of us who have the beta, what is going on with the beta now that 2.0 or within the week to 2 weeks will be out for everybody? So what's happening with the beta?
Yeah, I mean, so I think one thing sometimes, and I know this from myself, so it's not unusual. Once you start playing around with the beta, you get so used to having it around, you forget that it's actually a piece of broken software that you're helping fix. And you've actually said, yes, I realize this will probably leave me at some point very frustrated because something that I thought would work because it's a beta. However, currently everyone who has access to the beta or requests access to the beta will have access to it at least until the end of May. But keep in mind that because it's a beta, every 3 to 5 days we put a new version up, and that version will expire in 3 to 5 days, because otherwise what happens is that people keep sending bug reports on an old build of something that's been fixed. So even though your beta license, your access may continue to the 31st of May, you still have to hit that update button every time it comes up and says there's a new version, because otherwise it will expire and then you have to go into your account and download a new version.
It's a lot of hassle. Okay.
Sorry.
But there's a great solution to that hassle, which is get Pro 2.
Yeah.
Simple.
We just have to.
We just have to get it out to you.
Thank you for all your support, Jonathan.
We promise that you will know when Pro 2 is officially ready to download. We were going to say we've had supply chain issues, bottlenecks. What are you going to do?
All those container ships blocking up the Suez Canal was a huge problem for us.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All our bandwidth is there. So we will get this out to you soon. We can't get to all the questions here, but we're going to stop the presentation. We will be out at the tables and you can ask us directly yourselves for those folks who are here in Airmeet. For those folks who are watching this on YouTube and out there in Facebook and wherever else, thank you very much. We so appreciate that. And also, we will let you know when Pro 2 is available. We promise. So, just save your support questions until it's out. Okay. You're just going to have to wait for another little bit, but we'll have it out to you soon. All right. So with that, we're going to sign off and we'll see you out at the tables. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.